Talk about some personal experiences of when Dhun has helped me a lot. I use Dhun a lot throughout the day. It's become my lifeline. It's become, almost as important for me as breathing, because it can be hard sometimes. When I live here at the mandir, and we have, who knows who lives here in the mandir? What are some of the names of the people who live here in the mandir year-round? I'm not talking about the Santo that come from India, but who knows who lives here? Maitri? Didiba lives here. Who else? No, he comes, once a year. But I'm talking about like on a year-round basis, every day. Jayesh Mama stays here. Kalava stays here. Barrister Dada's here. Hasukaka's here. What other Santo are here? Besides Jayesh Mama, Ashish Kaka, Irvin Uncle, right? And Barrister Kaka, right? Yeah, I say here. Now, would you say these are soft personalities or strong personalities? Both? Both. So there's a mixture, right? But there are a lot of strong personalities, right? And we have different opinions about things, and we have different ways of doing things. Some are really organized, and some are very disorganized. Some are very loud, and some are very quiet. Some like really spicy food. Some people like me like very mild food. And we have to live together. Some like to wake up. Barrister Kaka, do you know what time he wakes up in the morning? No, he wakes up at 3 a.m. He wakes up at 3 a.m., wakes up, goes and makes some tea and all of that type of stuff, makes a lot of noise, and wakes half of us up, and then goes back to sleep. So can you imagine every night somebody waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning? So, everybody has different habits. And to be honest with you, sometimes it's hard for me to adjust to that. So what I do, yeah, I stay in Samarkand. Some stay in Sadak Nivas. I happen to sleep in Samarkand. But, sometimes it'll aggravate me. Sometimes I get annoyed, right? How do you feel like when your parents wake you up really early in the morning when you're dead asleep? It's not very fun, is it? You get pretty upset, right? Or are you a morning person? Not a morning person. I don't think if you wake up, but most people aren't morning people. So what happens is that I get annoyed, I get upset. Sometimes I want to even say something. I want to say, hey, what are you thinking? What are you doing? How can you do that? But then I know that wouldn't make Thakurji happy, right? If I said something negative, if I didn't respect my elders. So then what do I have to do? I have to go, Swaminarayan, 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 Swaminarayan. God, please give me strength, please give me patience, please give me peace. So I do Dhun for that. Sometimes I'll get angry, like when I'm driving along the road and somebody cuts me off on the road. I get angry and I want to say something, I want to honk the horn or something. Then I go, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. Okay, calm down and be peaceful. Sometimes at work, sometimes I have to work with clients. I work in finance. And sometimes my clients, I deal with the markets. Sometimes their investments go up and sometimes their investments go down. Sometimes when their investments go down, they get really unhappy. And they get angry at me, they blame me. The Shri, why didn't you sell when you could have sold everything? And the market went down and I lost all of this money. And they blame me and they get angry. And I feel sad. Then I go, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. Please give my client happy, please keep them peaceful. Please give me peace. Because I don't like to see them unhappy. There was one client who made me cry once on the phone. They were so upset, I actually cried. It was that bad. And so what could I do? I could do Swaminarayan, 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 Swaminarayan. Sometimes Sai Dada gives me an agna, that's a really hard agna, and I need strength. So I go, Swaminarayan, 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 please give me the strength to do this. And I think a lot of you know that I have a niyam, that I can't touch women. Or if a woman touches me, I have to fast, I can't eat. And I used to lose a lot of weight. Now the good thing is most of the girls and most of the women know this now. But in the beginning they didn't know, so they would touch me all the time. Harshadada had the same name when he got it from Yogi Baba. And sometimes it was not easy, right, Harshadada? It was hard, right? And then you have to go Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan.
Wait, so then if you visit your mother, you can't really hug her?
Yep.
Everyone.
Yep. And every lady, even if it's a relative, even if it's my mother. But the good thing is it won't be permanent. So Sayadaw gives it for a short amount of time. And then I'll be able to have all of these hugs to make up for her. So I'll give it to her with interest later on. But right now I can't. So some of the niyams even Sayadaw gives us, right? Sometimes he asks us to do things that we find hard. So Dhun has helped me a lot in my journey and during really difficult times. Sometimes, for example, Sayadaw, I'll give you an interesting story. So when I first joined satsang, actually this was even before I joined satsang. I joined the mandir in 2002. But 2 years before that, in the year 2000, Sayadaw celebrated his 40th birthday in India. So I wasn't part of satsang. I was living in London, and I was working in London. And I got a call from my parents. They were staying at the mandir there. They said, you have to come for Sayadaw's Hirak Motsav. You have to come for his birthday celebration. So I said to myself, okay, I'll go for a few days. I wasn't in satsang, nothing. But I thought, okay, for their sake, I'll come. So I went to the Hirak Motsav, and we had a giant tent like this. Do you guys remember when we had the big giant tent a couple years ago back there? It was even bigger than that tent. There were 5,000 people in the audience. 5,000 people. So I'm sitting like you guys, right? I'm just sitting there. And my Gujarati wasn't very good back then. And they had one Gujarati speaker after another Gujarati speaker after another Gujarati speaker. And I was falling asleep. But I was just sitting there listening. All of a sudden, Peterbhai, do you know Peterbhai? One of the sadhak boys who's come from India? He came walking up towards me. And he had a piece of paper. And he took the piece of paper out. And he gave me the piece of paper. And I look at it and it says, Sayadaw says you're speaking in 5 minutes. I'm not even in satsang. I don't know what to say. And there are 5,000 people that I don't even know, and he wants me to speak. Well, and I was going to speak in English, so I thought in my mind, okay, I thought of all of these things that I'm going to speak. I didn't know what to do. I had 5 minutes to plan it. But you can't say no to Sayadaw, right? You can't say no to a saint. So then I thought, okay. I got some thoughts together and I went up. So they announced my name and I start walking towards the stage. Sayadaw was introducing me. Oh, this is Surendrabhai and Kusumben's son. He lives and works in, he was born and raised in US. He works as in finance and all of this stuff. So I'm walking up and I come up to the dais, where you speak from, the podium. Right when I get to the podium and I'm about to start speaking, like he finishes introducing me, and he says, okay, so Shree's come here, and now he's going to speak to us in Gujarati. Sorry. So I'm sitting there, and Harshadana remembers, my Gujarati was absolutely awful back then. Now I've had a lot of practice living in the mandir for 15 years, but back then I hardly knew Gujarati at all. But then you can't, my dad had always taught me, you never say no to a saint. Whatever a saint does, no matter how hard it is, you just do it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to say something. And then at that time, Shivani Didi, you know Shivani Ben? Rushita Ben, do you all know Rushita Ben? And there was a third one, Avani, you don't know her, she hasn't come to camp. But 3 girls were there. This is year 2000, so they were about 12 years old. How many of you, you're 12? So they were your age. 3 girls from the US were there. They were sitting right in front of me, in the front, on the floor. And I start speaking, well, what I did was I closed my eyes when Sayadaw said he's going to speak in Gujarati. I said, God, you've asked me to do it, you're going to have to speak through me. So whatever comes out is going to be you. And so I started speaking. To this day, I don't remember what I said. All I remember is that while I was talking, Shivani, Rushita, and Avani were in the front row, dying of laughter. They were just rolling on the floor, laughing at my Gujarati because it was so bad. So can you imagine? You're trying to talk to 5,000 people, and these girls are right in front of you, and they're laughing their heads off. Somehow I struggled through it. I don't remember what I said. And then afterwards I went to Sayadaw Pagalag and he gave me a big dabbo, and then I went and sat down. But you know what? Something interesting happened. This was one of those moments that changed my life a little bit. Up to that point, I was working on Wall Street. I was an investment banker. I was working, with the biggest companies in the world. So Coca-Cola, IBM, those types of companies, working with the CEOs and boards of directors. So some of the smartest, most successful people in the world. My job was to advise them, give them financial advice. So I talked to them about buying companies and how to fix their finances and everything. And I'll tell you, I would make presentations to them. And every time I would make a presentation, this is a field I was an expert in. I studied for years in school. I had a lot of practice and experience. But every time I would speak to them, I would meet with them, on the outside I could stay calm, like I'm talking to you now. But inside I was like always really nervous. Each time I would do it. But I just learned how to keep like a straight face. But this was the first time I found that when I made that speech, I was calm inside. So when I sat down, I thought to myself, wait, what was different? This was unexpected. I had 5 minutes notice. I'm speaking to people I don't know in a language I can't speak. These girls are laughing right in front of me, but I feel peace. What was different this time? Then I realized what happened was I remembered God. 2 things. One was that I remembered God before I spoke. I said, you have to speak through me. Whatever comes out is going to be you. It's not going to be me. Second of all, I followed my Guru's Agna for the first time. And I felt so much tremendous peace inside. And that was the first time in my life. I wasn't very religious at that time, I'll tell you. But something clicked in my head and said, there's something here to this. You know what I mean? Following a Guru's Agna, remembering God. In the same way, when we do Dhun, we have, we experience the presence of God, and we feel a different peace within ourselves. So I thought that was an interesting experience. So Jannan Swai Maharaj Ji Jai.